Hello, welcome to this new course on photography. We're going to start with some basic concepts about framing, compositing, and basic rule of photography. We're going to go over 4 rules. Rule number 1, the quality of light. The definition of photography is writing of the light. It's the writing of the light. And better is your light, better is your photography. You can see in this example that we have a sunset in Paris that's pretty nice. It's actually one of the nicest sunsets I've had over the years. And well, we have a good quality of light, so we have a good photo. It's as simple as that. Unfortunately, usually the good light or nice lights is in the evening or early in the morning when the sun rises or when the sun sets. This is another example. You can see the quality of light is very nice. This is another sunset in Paris. And yeah, quality of light equals better photos. Here is another example which I like a lot because this is a very common street. This street's got nothing special at all. And I think the photo is pretty nice. And the reason it's pretty nice is because the light was nice. So nice light equals great shots. That's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is the rule of third. The rule of third is you have to imagine while you're taking the photography that you have 3 lines across from left to right and from top to bottom, as you can see here. This gives you 4 points that we call the 4 golden points. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The idea is that you put one of the key elements of your message across one of these lines and across this 1 or 2 more points. For example, 1/3 of the photo is the river and the bridge, and 2/3 is the ceiling. We usually say dead center, meaning if you put your subject in the center, you're dead. Here, we are not in the center. 2/3 of sky, 1/3 of ground. So the rule of third has been applied here on that photo. Same thing for this photo, where we have 1/3 of the ground and 2/3 of the ceiling. Now here is the opposite. 2/3 is the ground and 1/3 is the ceiling. So that's our rule number 2, the rule of third. Rule number 3, and that is to find an element of deepness in your photo, something that will guide, some line that will guide the person into the photo. You see, photography is a 2D subject. There is no 3D yet. Even if you have 3Ds in movie worlds, you don't have it in the photography world, or it's not totally, let's say, workable right now. So any photography is pretty flat. So you have to find elements that's going to get the eyes of the viewer into the photography, like this one. You see the railroad is going deep into the photography. It gets you really into it. Here is another example, the one we took earlier. The road gets you into the photography. Here is another one. The road takes you into the photography. So that's our next rule, is to get an element that's going to get some deepness into the photography. The last and 4th rule is what I call the message. This is a place in Paris which is always full of people. I had to get up at 5 in the morning to take this photo so that I had nobody stand here in front of my camera or cars going by. Because car and people usually, unless this is a message you want to get across, will disperse the viewer from the true message that I wanted to give in this photo, for example, which is the opera in Paris. So anything that does not contribute to your message needs to be taken out. And anything that contributes to the message needs to be pushed in hard. If you look at this photo, same thing. There is no element distracting the eye. We have the railroad getting into this nice sky and the buildings. Same thing here. You know, I waited for cars to be not in the frame while I took the photo. Same thing here. There was a lot of cars passing by it, but for 1 second there was no car, and I took the photo. You also have some spot in Paris where you can have a lot of people, but as you are standing up on the roof of a bridge or on the roof or something, you can take a photo where you have no foreground element that does not contribute to the message. So that was my last and 4th rule, the message. Voila, this is basic rules of photography, but they were very helpful to me when I understood them first, and now I try to have this full rule, always win when I take a photo, and I usually get a better result. One last thing I want to add about the quality of the light, which is the definition of photography, which is writing of the light, is that when you take a photo, I usually go for a nice light first and then I find a subject. This is something that I do often. I walk around in Paris, I wait for a nice sunset, and then I take photos. It's very rare that I find the subject first and then wait for the good light. I usually go for the good light first and then find a subject, because believe me, when the light is good, you can take a garbage can and it will look great, because all the light around it will be beautiful. So that's really the main rule, is a beautiful light equals beautiful photos. Thank you for listening. Let's go to the next lesson.